Exit full screen.
Yeah, you're talking now. We're live. What's going on, everybody? Pete Candelario here with RE Solutions. Here I'm actually at my house. Belinda and Pompey are at their house at the regular studio, and we're still doing Tidbit Thursday. But um, I guess some of us are doing it on location. That would be me. Denise is not feeling well, so she is not with us today. But we want to welcome you to our Tidbit Thursday, and today we are going to continue our buyers series, right? And we're going to be talking to a home inspector, um, trying to get some information on home inspections and hopefully not scaring buyers away, because lots of times buyers, especially first time home buyers, when they see a home inspection, they're looking at it like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of stuff on here, and I don't know if I really want to buy this house. So we actually try to walk through first time home buyers and tell them a little bit more about inspections. But of course, we would like to educate ourselves more too. So today we're going to have Alamo Real Pro property inspections on here. It's going to be Tracy and Rodney. And so just stay tuned and we will have them on.
Be right back.
And we're back. That was quick, right?
I'm excited for this series because we're going to be focusing the whole month of May on in the inspection report and why inspections are important to homeowners and home sellers and buyers, and what to kind of expect when you were going through this process. Because if you see one of those reports, it can be really scary.
It's really kind of interesting because we just used Real Alamo Pros for, I believe we've used them 4 times.
A couple times, yeah.
For various inspections, and so far all the inspections they've brought forward were so wonderfully detailed that it made explaining or discussing issues with the clients so much easier.
Yeah.
Because of the explanation and the way that they do everything. So I'm excited to kind of talk a little bit more and learn more about the company as a whole.
Yeah. And that is, when you're reading the inspections, a lot of first-time home buyers, they're reading it, and even though they're so specific, it kind of scares them with some of the terminology that they use and stuff like that. So it'll be great to get some information. But before we even start that, for those of you who don't know, we are RE Solutions. We are a residential real estate and property management company that loves to educate and help individuals find real estate for all of their real estate needs. And we do that by doing this Tidbit Thursday every week. And we do other seminars, a seller seminar, buyer seminar, landlord seminar throughout San Antonio. And throughout the month, we do it on a monthly basis. So if you want more information, please either follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn. What are the other ones, Belinda? I always forget.
TikTok, YouTube,
Instagram.
There you go.
I feel like this is a quiz. Right? I'm not ready.
Yeah. So, and yes, we are on YouTube. All these videos that we do, the Tidbit Thursday and property videos and educational videos, are all placed on our YouTube channel. So you can go to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to it. Hit that bell so that you can get notifications every time we put out a video. I think we put out some pretty decent information.
I do too. We have useful stuff.
Side. What's that?
We do useful things.
Yeah, we do. So anyway, we are bringing on Miss Tracy Wiggins from Alamo Real Pro. What's going on, Tracy? How are you doing today?
Hi, everybody. How are you today?
Outstanding. How about yourself?
I'm doing great.
So we know
inspections.
Yes.
Yes.
So we know that you're the right hand. You ensure that company is moving forward and kind of doing everything. Tell us a little bit about it. How did y'all get started and everything?
So Rodney's been in business about 17 years now. He had his own inspection company, and then he started with National Property Inspections and had worked under that franchise for quite a while, and then decided that royalty fees, while they're great, he knew that he provided an amazing service, and he decided to go ahead and take it out on his own. And so now we're Alamo Real Pro Inspections. We've been that name for 5 to 6 years now.
Nice.
I've been with the company almost 3 years at doing their business development. So while I don't climb a ladder or read those reports, my job is different because I make sure that if agents need help, even if those home buyers need help, sometimes I'll go out on inspections for those first-time home buyers who are a little nervous. It's nice to have a friendly face out there.
Yeah, definitely.
And I've got enough knowledge, but I'm not the one that's going to go over those reports with you.
That's okay, because we're always calling you guys back going, what is this? What does this mean? And
yeah, we can get into the reports here in a second. So,
yes.
So Tracy, while we're waiting for Rodney to jump in, why would you? I know why I would tell a buyer or even a seller to hire a professional to go through the home. Why would you tell somebody that?
So my favorite analogy, because I love to speak in them a lot of times, maybe it's the 4 kids I have, I don't know, just seems to work. It would just be like if you were going to, when you go to the doctor and you get blood work, right? You need a foundational piece so that way you know exactly what you're dealing with. That's the same for a home, because every home, no matter what age, is loved on and lived in differently.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I think an inspection is super important because you don't know how it's been taken care of. And just because they took care of it one way, you may do it another way. So this just gives you that foundational piece so you know exactly where the home starts from the time you purchase it, even from a new build, because we do new build as well. It is just good to have that foundational piece so you know how to build from there.
That's amazing that you say that, because one of the things I love to tell my clients that are buying new builds, just because the company's telling you they're having somebody inspect it, those people don't work for you. They work for the company. I was like, so
their standards may be different.
It's always better to have somebody in your pocket that's trying to help you out.
100%.
And answers to you as the client to make sure that, I guess to keep the builders on the up and up, make sure that they're actually doing what they say they're doing. And it just helps out for a much better product and a happier experience for everybody at the end of the ordeal that way.
I agree.
100%. I mean, I always like to tell people, I mean, whether it's a home that was built in 1950s, there's going to be things that are different, right? So we always remind our clients in the beginning that if your home was built in 1950, you're going to see certain things. That doesn't make the home a bad home. It's just the way the home is, right? Mm-hmm. Because it was built then. That doesn't make it bad. It just makes it where code is different and other things are different. So we try to make sure we walk our clients through those pieces so that way they're not afraid when they do read that report.
And I'm hoping we can talk a little bit about codes and the codes and what they mean.
Yes.
Hey.
It's really great because we're all from the Northeast originally. And when you're from the Northeast, you just get used to the house getting built in 19 something.
Yeah.
Right? You always hear 1930s, 1940s, 1950s. And here in San Antonio, it's a little different. People tend to kind of get a little concerned when they hear anything 1980s or 90s. They're like, oh, that house is old. And it's no, it's not. That house is young. Stop that.
It's seasoned.
It's
seasoned. I love that.
Good word. I like that.
I'm going to use that from now on, actually.
I'm going to steal Tracy's. It was loved and lived in differently by every person.
Yes.
I like that one too. That's a really good analogy.
Thanks. I love to live in analogy. So
we are being joined by Rodney.
Hi.
Hey, I apologize. For whatever reason, I'm not a technical guy. I guarantee you that.
We
I
just
couldn't get my Surface Pro to connect over there at that house.
For homes, you're technical.
Yeah.
As long as you can inspect homes, we don't care about your other technology.
Yeah. So
home inspection and Apple devices are different. Don't worry about that.
So what I had prepared is the topics of the importance of a home inspection, hiring and referring an inspector, new things to look for that are out there, but Trex putting out there, and things to be careful with. So if you want me to just
go right
in, please.
Questions at the end, or how do you want to do that?
How about you get started, and after each major point, we'll ask questions because I know I'll have them.
Okay. All right. So the importance of an inspection, obviously, is understanding the true condition of the house that you're getting ready to purchase. It gives you a list of maintenance items. You know, a lot of times clients will look at the report as a to-do list for the seller, and it's really not. There's a lot of things in there that are maintenance items, repair, replacement, things that the homeowner needs to be aware of. And a lot of that they can do themselves. And we try to walk them through that when we're delivering the report. It's to avoid costly repairs. Many times the seller doesn't even know what's going on with their house. So it's not really failure to disclose. They didn't really know. That's one reason why, you know, I like for pre-inspections, pre-listing inspections to take place, but that's kind of hard to get done. So anyway, to avoid costly repairs, budget for replacement. You know what? That roof might need to be replaced in the near future. The HVAC system might need to be replaced. It could be functioning just fine right now. But, you know, statistically, that thing's probably going to need to be replaced. So it just gives them some information to budget for that for the near future. Discover things that should have been disclosed. You know, when we find a bucket or a kiddie pool in the attic, there's obviously indication that somebody knew there was a leak, right?
You've seen that?
Hold on. Yeah. We didn't get that. Did you say kiddie pool in the attic?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, that's, you know, somebody knew about it, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that should have been disclosed. So many times we discover things that are quite obvious that should have been disclosed. It's a valuable tool for negotiations, of course. Like I say, many times the sellers are unaware of the condition of their own home. And typically 80% of the time, if not 90% of the time, I mean, very seldom do we get a very clean report. The cost of the inspection is pennies compared to the value of the deficiencies that we find. So there's great value in that. Recently, we tend to, on the disconnects, we'll pull that disconnect and we'll look at those blades and the wires inside that panel. We find burnt wires all the time. It's not something that's going to fail today or tomorrow, or maybe not even a year from now, but eventually that thing's going to catch fire. And why not catch it on the onset? Let's get it fixed before, you know, we become, you know, costly repairs. Numerous things in the crawl space. Oh my gosh. We did one the other day. This house, they told me there was $15,000 worth of repair done to the crawl space, and it was signed off on an engineer, the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm looking forward to it. And I get in there and it was one of the worst crawl spaces I've been in a long time. They did have some work done, but it was really shoddy work. Ooh. They had concrete pier forms in there with no concrete in them at all. In fact, Tracy's got a video of that. I don't know if she's put it on there. Yeah, just crazy stuff. And I'm like, you know, and I told the buyer's agent, I says, you know what, this thing's been signed off by an engineer, so you got some pretty good leverage there because he's licensed.
Yeah.
So somebody needs to cough up something out here.
Oh my gosh. I know whoever spent the money on that is kind of looking at it like, what?
Yeah. I mean, it was nice. It was a nice flip on the outside, but yeah, they certainly neglected the bones of the structure. So anyway, and then improper flashing on roofs. Roofs are, I'm sure y'all know that roofers are certified, usually by the manufacturer of the shingle manufacturer, but they're not licensed. Texas Licensing Department of Licensing and Regulation does not provide a license for a roofer. So anybody can wake up one morning and decide to be a roofer. And it's kind of sad, but we see that out there a lot.
Always do when the hailstorm hits, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They'll reuse old flashing that should have been thrown in the trash, or it's improperly installed.
So what is flashing?
Flashing is where, like, if you have a roof to wall intersection where those two areas butt up to get to one another, you have to have proper flashing so that the water sheds down off of that roof.
Got it. So it's not being exposed to the elements directly.
And a lot of times they'll use caulk. We see this a lot on metal roofs. They'll just cut a hole in the roof panel and they'll stick the plumbing vent through it and they'll caulk around it. That's improper. The industry has a proper flashing boot for that penetration. Oh. Caulk is not the flashing boot. Caulk is a maintenance item. The problem with that is it may not be leaking today, may not leak for another 2 years, but eventually that caulk's going to wear out. So now you have a maintenance issue up there on that roof. And who gets on the roof and looks for caulking? Nobody.
Right.
So if you're not having the proper inspections up there, you know, that's the wonderful thing about flashing is it's maintenance free. Flashing is designed to protect that thing, those joints from water intrusion without the need of caulk. So anyway, so that, and new homes are not immune. That we find all kinds of stuff with new homes. And many of the things would manifest themselves in the next few months. But there are some things that may never manifest themselves until you're way out of warranty. It may be years, or maybe 2 years until you have catastrophic failure. And it's something that could have been prevented on the onset. You know, could have been, I have done an inspection before on pre-pour foundation where they just completely omitted a post-tension cable. So you got 8 feet of unprotected concrete. Once they pour the concrete, hey, who's going to discover it until you have catastrophic failure? That's when you're going to discover it. So anyway, there's lots of things with the new construction. So that's the need for an inspection.
I always tell people too, because I mean, right now we're in a very high demand sellers market, you know, and a lot of buyers are afraid to ask for any repairs that may need to be done because they really need a place to live and they really want the home. But my attitude is like, at least you walk into a home and you know exactly what it needs, you know, and then if you choose not to ask for any repairs, at least you now have a plan of action. And like you said, you know, like this is something that needs to be addressed. And I love y'all's reports because it does spell it out for you, you know, and it tells you like, hey, this is something that needs to be addressed. This is just information for you so you can, you know, learn a little bit more about it. And this is, I forget how it's worded, but like important is how I remember it.
So I was on an inspection today. I go on inspections every single day to train my inspectors. You know, I don't care if they've been with me 5 years. I'm still going on the inspections and training them. And that's one of the things that I try to encourage my inspectors to do. When you're explaining this thing, when you're delivering the verbal report to the client, let them know how they can fix some of these things, because you know what? You're going to fix it a whole lot better than that seller's going to fix it. If I can explain it to you to fix it, they're going to realize, well, wow, I can do that myself. Yeah, absolutely. There's no need to negotiate that. That's something that you need to do as a homeowner. But the big ticket items, things that are going to cost a lot of money, things that need a professional, like say a roof, quote unquote, professional, or HVAC, things of that nature. If you got to hire a professional to come out and do it, those are the things you want to negotiate. And when you do that, the seller needs to provide that documentation. Too many times they'll say, oh, you know what? Okay, it's not cooling properly. We'll go ahead and get the HVAC guy out here and we'll get that fixed for you. All the buyer knows is, hey, seller got it fixed. Well, did you see the documentation? Because that HVAC guy might have said, you know what? Your coil's got a little pinhole leak in there. You really should have that replaced. Oh, no, don't worry about it. We'll just put spray on in there. We're going to sell it.
Just fill her up.
Yeah, just fill her up.
Yeah.
So you really need to see the documentation from the actual contractor to see what report he delivered there.
I'd say we agree.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we were talking about at the beginning, as far as showing these reports to new home sales, or not new home sales, but first-time home buyers. And when they see a 47 to 50 page document, sometimes more, they're scared, right?
Yeah.
They're wondering, should I even buy this house? And
I've had agents before tell me, you know, we gauge the inspection based on the number of pages. And I'm like, why do you do that?
yeah,
Pictures can take up a lot of room. I mean, you really can't gauge it by the number of pages. I mean,
yes. And I
was doing
pictures. That's one of my things, man. It's like, I have to see, if I see some kind of, you know, bullet in there about something, I want to see the picture. You know, just to make sure. And there's a lot of inspection companies that they'll just write up all kinds of stuff, but they do not provide any pictures. And I'm like, well, how are we supposed to know what to do and stuff?
Right.
So, and it's also dependent on the real estate agent too, right? Because a lot of real estate agents, they just don't know about a lot of little stuff, and they'll probably guide their client the wrong way, you know. So do you know if there's any like education for realtors as far as inspections and reading inspection reports and things that they should be aware of?
I am going to develop something like that. I kind of do touch on that. We do some CE classes, understanding older homes and how to avoid home inspection aggravation. I touch on a lot of that stuff when I'm teaching my classes on what to expect. And when we're doing the inspections, I can't tell you how many times I have seasoned realtors. I never heard that explained that way. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's all on how you verbally deliver it. You can say the same thing wrong and you can say it right. And, there's no need to scare the client. You're going to see this in every single house of this age. Why are you, if you decide not to buy this house, you know what? If you look at another house, this same age and this same style, you're going to see the same thing. It's very common.
Right.
Yes.
So don't get excited about it. Here's the reason why it's meeting code,
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I mean, when you buy an old car, you're not going to get the side effect airbag, right? You're going to get old stuff.
Right.
So anyway, so how to hire an inspector? I don't know. Do you want me to move on to the next section?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So hiring an inspector, and many times, I don't know how y'all do it. Sometimes that, they might come in and, buy a box of cookies or something and do some kind of a sponsor. And really all is there's a nice guy that came in, bought us some cookies and, I'm going to give him a shot.
Wait, you guys buy cookies?
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
I would encourage you to please find out if they got a website. If that shows that they are dedicated to their industry. If they have a website, you're going to learn a lot more about them on their website. And they may or may not have the proper information on there. Like, for instance, I was doing an inspection one time and the guy sent me, actually, he didn't like his inspector. It was a new home construction. It was in the frame stage. And they sent me the report and I was looking at it. And then I looked up the guy's website. He had a beautiful website. Said he had 30 years of experience. I get on the Trek website and I looked up his license and he was licensed less than a year.
Wow.
Less than a year in business.
Wow.
And yet he said he had 30 years experience. So, the websites can be a bit misleading. So that's my next step is go to the Trek website. Make sure that they have an active license for one thing. I mean, if it's inactive, maybe they don't have the right insurance. And there are some inspectors out there doing inspections without an active license. So you need to look at the Trek website, make sure they're active license, find out what year they were licensed. How long have they been in business? It'll show you any disciplinary actions. If Trek has ever made any disciplinary actions, that's going to be listed on there. That's just good information to help your client do their proper due diligence, finding out if they've got a great inspector. Now, with that said, I hire young guys. I hire guys because I don't want to bring over bad habits. Or I don't want to bring over, maybe they've got a bad reputation out there because they did something stupid. I don't want that. So I like to get them fresh out of school and I like to train them. So if you look at my guys, you're probably going to see some guys that have been in the business less than 5 years. And that's okay, because they work for a company that has been in the industry for quite some time. And I go out there and I train my guys every single day. So they do their inspections like I do. And they're employees. They're not 1099s, they're W-2s. So they do it the way I want them to do it. They're scheduled to do inspections that I send them on.
I know your company too. You offer a 90-day warranty on components that you inspect, and if you've said that they were okay and it comes back that they weren't, is that how the warranty works?
As far as something working and not working?
Correct. Yeah. The way I understood it is if they said something was okay and then it came back that it wasn't okay, then your company covers it for 90 days. If it
the warranty company does. Yes, that is correct. So it's funny. I had an agent call me one time and says, so how do I get this air conditioner fixed under the warranty? And I said, well, did you read the report? Well, yeah, it wasn't working, didn't perform or whatever it said. And I says, well, then it needs to be fixed. Well, in the warranty gimmick, no.
That's not how it works.
I wish I could afford to fix everybody's house. So anyway,
That
yes,
would be nice.
if it was found to be in good working order at the time of the inspection, and then it fails and it's still under the policy time limits, then yes, that's when the warranty comes into play. So we do provide free warranties. They're usually 90-day warranties, except for our roof warranty. That's 5 years roof leak warranty. And we have some other warranties that have extended times on them too, but that's free with all of our inspections. Now you can buy the full-blown warranty. You can go with any other warranty company too. You're not obligated to go with ours, but if you do go with our warranty company, it does work a little bit differently. It's more of a reimbursement type warranty. You hire your own contractor, you get it fixed, you send in the invoice, get reimbursed, that kind of thing. They do have caps on what they reimbursed. I'm going to tell you right now, there are no warranty companies out there that are just wonderful. They're all terrible in their own little ways.
Here.
My free warranty though will cover the deductible. Let's say they go with America's Home Shield or whatever they go with, and there's a deductible. Well, if they're still under my 90-day warranty, my free warranty, we're going to cover that deductible. So my warranty still comes into play and helps out.
I just thought it was pretty cool because I hadn't run into anybody who was pretty much backing their work up, putting their money where their mouth was is basically the way I looked at it. I was like, hey, that's why we end up giving a try. I was like, they're going to cover their work. If they said it was good and it wasn't, they'll come back and they'll make it right.
Yep. And there has been times where now let's say they go with any warranty. Say they go with another warranty company and that warranty company decides that, you know what, they're not going to repair that roof. My warranty has come into play just basically out of spite, I think. I know the owner of the warranty company and I said, you know what, they're having a problem getting this thing covered. Their warranty company's not covering it. He goes, you know what, we're going to cover it just because. So sometimes he'll decide to cover it that way.
Just to be the good guy.
But they're supposed to use whatever full-blown warranty company you have, that's the one that's going to go into play.
Okay.
Before the free warranty.
Gotcha.
And if that doesn't work, then we come in and see what we can do thereafter. So yeah, go to the Trek website, look on social media. You're going to get true reviews on social media. Well, I say that. We got one a while back and it wasn't a good review. And I looked up the name. He was not a client. He was not an agent. I don't know who this person was. And I responded to it and they never responded back. And it was just completely frivolous. It just, and that really gets the hair on the back of my neck stand up because we don't get bad reviews. And when one does come in, it's like, what? I'm looking into it. So sometimes you can get bad reviews from the seller just because they just didn't like what you did to their home. It happens. But anyway, those are good avenues to look at, your Google reviews and Facebook and Yelp. And let's see what else. The ask the inspector questions. Believe it or not, inspectors do not have to get up on the roof if they deem that to be unsafe.
Right.
A lot of inspectors don't.
If they see a spider that they don't like, they don't have to go in that crawl space or in that attic. Trek gives them that out. So, I mean, they might not tell you to their face that, oh yeah, no, I'm afraid of spiders, I'm not going in there. But they might not, so you got to ask them questions. Oh yeah, we get pretty silly sometimes. Are they going to take the time to explain everything to your client at the inspection? We like for our clients to show up 30 minutes after the inspection, and I'm sure y'all want to help your client out, but it's really not your job to have to explain what the inspector wrote up on that report. That's the inspector's job. The inspector needs to explain everything that he wrote up at the time of the inspection on site, hopefully, so that you don't have to do it back in your office. So they need to take the necessary time. Believe it or not, there's some inspectors out there that are doing 4 inspections a day. And there is no way in heck you can do that properly.
Right.
No way.
Not thorough.
We limit our inspectors to 2. That's all they do. They do 2 inspections a day. That's it. Because I want them to spend the necessary time with the client, explain everything, and then still have enough time to get to the next inspection without being rushed.
Yeah.
So
and that was really helpful because I had one of your technicians, Matt, he was there with the client And by the time I showed up just to peek in and be like, hey, everything good? He'd already gone through the report with her. So when we had a conversation the next day, she was like, oh yeah, Matt explained that. And I was like, that's so nice.
Yeah.
So is it important to you? Do you want to just, and she's like, no, I'll take care of that.
Good,
So,
good deal.
That was really good.
And then there's optional inspections. You get your termite inspection, your pool inspection. That's the main reason why I was out at this one today, because it had a pool. But I went ahead and got that done for them. But yeah, your pool inspections, your well inspections, not all inspectors do that. Mm-hmm. So, they might want to hire an outside company to come in. Now you have to arrange for that.
Yeah.
So ask them, if they're going to inspect everything. Let's see. If you get to meet an inspection on site, or an inspector, on site, watch how they operate. Watch how they communicate with the client. Are they really listening to the client, or are they just flapping their lips and blowing through the report and trying to get out of there to get to the next inspection? I tell my guys, look at your peripheral vision. If you see that your client is kind of not quite getting it, slow down, ask them if they understand. They have to understand everything. Otherwise, it's not really that valuable to them. Right. So yeah, just kind of watch how they operate. Make sure they're polite, obviously. Make sure they have the well-being of your clients, their best interest. And let's see. So yeah, great experience. I mean, that's one thing that we pride ourselves on. We're just like you. We get our business through referrals. Mm-hmm. And if we don't have happy clients, we're not going to get referred. We get referred a lot just from word of mouth, just friend of a neighbor or whatever. And as well as I'm sure y'all do. And if the inspector's not doing a good job, that could also reflect on y'all too, because maybe y'all referred that inspector and said, you know what, maybe you should give this company a try. And if they do a bad job, well, that's a bad reflection on you, and that hurts your reputation.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
So it's really important to make sure that you have good communication with the inspector. Make sure that they're spending the necessary time with your client. Let's see. So anyway, I could go on and on and on that. Some things that you need to start looking forward for is February 1st of this year. We now have a new report form. It's a 7-6. That inspector better be using 7-6. Some things that they changed in that is we now have to, they changed a lot of stuff. The purpose of the inspection, the responsibility of the client, blah, 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 all that preamble on that first report page, that's all been changed. They added that we have to report plumbing now. We have to report the type of plumbing for water distribution, the type of plumbing for drains and gas lines. That didn't used to be, but now we do. Wow. They've added a whole new section for gas. A good inspector used to just put the gas stuff in the plumbing area on the old report. But now this new report form, they have a specific section just for gas products. So all that is new in there. And all that, like I said, is taking place February 1st. We have a new standards of practice. Texas Real Estate Commission has now given us a parameter to determine whether or not an air conditioner is performing. It has to perform at 15 to 22 degrees between the coils in order to determine whether or not it's performing properly. We didn't used to have that in there. It used to be just the inspector's opinion. But now Texas Real Estate Commission has given us a standards of practice in our parameters. So those are some things, and like I say, there's bunches and bunches in there where you're going to start seeing more tamper-resistant receptacle write-ups. Every receptacle 5.5 feet off the floor in that house, current code is required to be tamper-resistant. So when you get these older houses, no tamper-resistant receptacles, it's just going to be a common write-up. Mm-hmm. One thing that you need to understand too is back when I was doing inspections a long time ago, they used to have that fourth box was an R in need of repair, and they changed it to a D, which I'm so glad they did, because just because that box is marked deficient, so what? It doesn't mean it needs to be repaired. It just means it doesn't meet current code standards. And as an inspector, we have to inspect to current standards. I always tell my clients, we have to inspect to a perfect world, but we don't live in one. So you're going to find all kinds of stuff wrong with this home. And it's really wrong simply because it doesn't meet that perfect world standard. Doesn't mean that it needs to be fixed. My job is to explain to you why it's deficient. You make that decision whether or not you want to live with it.
Right.
So when you're talking about codes to people, just going to back up real quick in case people don't know. What do you mean by codes?
So, well, there's the International Residential Building Code, and then there's manufacturer's installation. Now, a lot of times the code will say refer to manufacturer's installation. Well, so manufacturer's installation really becomes code because code refers you back to it.
Gotcha.
So anyway, we're not code inspectors, but we're licensed through knowing code. So really and truly, we are code inspectors. We're just not enforcing the code. We're mostly enforcing Texas Real Estate Commission's standards of practice. That's what we are licensed through is Texas Real Estate Commission, and that's the standard that we must follow. But they also refer back to if it's not installed properly, if there's any deficiencies in the gas section. Well, that's a broad statement. I mean, my gosh, are there any deficiencies? Well, you just told me I have to call out everything now. So it puts us in a weird situation, but there's I don't want to get involved in going through with what the Texas Real Estate Commission does.
We won't ask you to do that.
Here all day long. Anyway, things to be careful with is like foundation measurement tools. These foundation level. I have foundation leveling tools. I have a CompuLevel. I don't use it unless I am requested to use it, or it's an optional system. And here's the reason why. It's because foundations, brand new homes, they're poured out of level all the time. They might be 2 inches out of level. And here you are today, 20 years later, using a CompuLevel to determine what the level of this foundation is. Well, you might say, okay, it was 4 inches out of level. We've got a problem here. How do you know it wasn't poured 2 inches out of level? It could have been that way from day one.
Mm-hmm.
So it really does muddy the water in a lot of areas. Unless you have a baseline reading of what that foundation was from day one when it was brand new, you really don't need to be causing issues with what it is today. Unless it is, if a foundation's really bad, your equilibrium is going to tell you it's bad. You're going to walk through there and you're going to say, you know what, I can feel it. That's when it's bad. Now I look at cracks and I look and I see where that crack is going. If that crack's going to a bathroom, we probably got an issue there. It might be a plumbing issue. So you have to determine where those cracks are leading you, what size and shape those cracks are, what the rest of the structure is doing. Just because there's a crack in the foundation doesn't necessarily mean there's an issue until I evaluate the entire property and see what's going on with it. So anyway, be careful with the CompuLevel guys out there. There's some of them out there that are doing that. Infrared cameras. Anybody can buy an infrared camera, but it actually costs a lot of money. My level 1 certification for infrared was $1,800. There's not a lot of inspectors out there that are going to spend a couple $1,000s to go get licensed on how to use that infrared camera. But anybody can buy one, and there's a lot of inspectors out there now that are using them. So, and a lot of times they're not reading them right. You can get reflective temperature. The way an infrared camera works is it reads the electromagnetic energy of the surface temperature. It doesn't see through anything. It can't tell if something's wet or dry. But if something is wet, it's going to give off a different electromagnetic energy to determine, to show you a picture of, hey, this is probably wet. Back it up with a moisture meter. Make darn sure it's wet and not just cold. There could be cold air blowing on it. There could be a refrigerant line behind that wall, causing that wall to emit some cool temperature. Doesn't mean it's wet. So there's a lot of misdiagnoses that are going on with infrared cameras. So be sure that your inspector knows what he's doing with those. Septic inspections. I've been beating this drum for a long time. We don't do septic inspections right now, and I've been certified twice to do septic inspections. I learned enough to know that we really don't need to be doing that. That's a very, very expensive component. And if you just hire a guy for $50 or $100 or whatever he's doing, oh yeah, I'll do it for $100, whatever, we'll tack it on the inspection. he's not doing you a good septic inspection. He's not looking inside that tank, looking at the baffles, making sure there's no cracks in that tank. There's all kinds of things that you need to be looking for. And like I said, it's a very expensive item for something to go unnoticed and your client get wrapped with it. If they have to spend several $1,000s on a new septic, they're not going to be happy with you or the inspector or anybody else. So I always refer that out to a septic company. Let the septic company that sees that stuff all day long, they know what they're looking at. There are some companies out there that might try to upsell, get another opinion. But I always recommend you get that tank pumped. If you, I don't know if y'all do a lot of septics, but they have a lot of them out in the New Braunfels area. But anyway, I do recommend that you get a proper septic company.
We should definitely tell sellers to pump their tank before they put it on the market.
Get all that stuff out of there. If you're moving, take all your stuff, right?
Literally.
Take everything. So Ronnie,
anyway, there's this.
You have a wealth of information of stuff.
I'm sorry, you broke up.
I said you have a wealth of information.
I love what I do. Yep, I love what I do. And anytime y'all have any questions, please, well, we probably need to plan ahead of time, make sure that our media system's working right. But I would love to do this again. Yep.
Yes. And I think with all the information that you're providing now, I think we need to bring you back on to cover some more stuff. Probably maybe specific things in the inspection report and stuff like that. Because, man, it could be an all-day show with you. I mean, you have so much information, which is good because that's the stuff that us as realtors want to learn, and obviously our clients and the people that are watching these videos, they want to know about the inspection and the inspection reports, because that's what scares most individuals at the beginning, even if it's not a first-time home buyer. Even a regular home buyer just looking at a report, that's going to be the deciding factor if they're going to keep going with the contract or not. And it's also dependent on how, and I'm glad that your technicians actually explain it, because a lot of realtors, once again, they don't know much, and I'm not saying I know much, but trying to explain stuff to a client from an inspection report that you don't know much about, and you're probably going to scare them away from buying that home just because it's a little thing that they can actually take care of themselves or something.
Yeah. And we do write up some things, and I really, and my inspectors, they struggle with this a lot too. Is this really worth writing up? I said, well, you know what? If you can see it, your client's going to see it. Put it in there, but explain it away when you go into verbalizing the inspection report. And because I don't want to not write that crack up. It's a tape joint crack. Come on. I mean, do I really need to write it up? Well, yeah, because your client's going to see it and they're going to think it's structural, and you just need to let them know it's not. So put it in there, but it's how you explain it that makes all the difference.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I know there's sometimes a lot of nail biting, waiting for the inspector to go in and do their job and get the report, but it has saved clients on the other side of this too. Thousands of dollars of repairs that they weren't prepared for. So it's given them opportunity to go, okay, this is probably not the best place for me. Let me keep looking. So it's important on both sides. One, letting people know like, hey, it's okay. And two, like, you need to be prepared for big repairs if you're going to go through with this contract.
Yep. I see young people all the time buying old houses because they can buy them cheap.
Yeah. But
I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you can afford to buy this house, but can you afford to maintain it?
That is a very good point.
I have a question that I've always thought about. Why doesn't a seller, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, why doesn't a seller get an inspection done on their property prior to them putting it on the market and taking care of that stuff?
I think it's just fear of disclosing. They don't want to have to disclose anything. But I'm thinking, if I've got a report in this hand and I got a report in this hand, I know what's going on with this property. I don't know anything about this property. I'm probably going to lean more towards the one I know something about rather than the one that I know nothing about. And, you know, whether the seller thinks that they're going to disclose it or not, it's going to get disclosed. It's going to get found. Why not go ahead and bring it out there? And I don't know if this is, you know, my way of thinking is if I disclose it, if I show you a report and I know about all this stuff, is it negotiable? Well, no, because I've disclosed it.
Yep.
Right? Why am I negotiating? I know that the roof is bad. I know it needs to be replaced. That's why I'm selling it at this price. I've told you that. I've put it right here in this report. So it's kind of out of the negotiation ring as far as I'm concerned, but you know.
Right, because then
so there's a lot of advantages to do.
You price the home for what it's really worth, right?
Yep.
Compared to those repairs and stuff.
You price it accordingly.
It's just something I've always wondered.
You're not going to get. Yep. You're not going to get tire kickers. You're going to get serious buyers because they already know the condition of the home. What are they going to back out about? I mean, unless they discover something that wasn't in their inspection report, okay, that might be a deal killer. But otherwise, you've read the report, you know what you're getting ready to purchase. You've got a lot less chance of them backing out.
Exactly.
That is true. That's very true.
And then plus we provide a warranty. We provide a warranty even for the person selling the home. That warranty company that we're affiliated with, if that home does not sell because of our inspection report, we will pay their mortgage up to 3 times. I think it is $1,500. I don't know what it is, but anyway, we'll pay their mortgage. Well, actually, we won't. The warranty company will.
That's good to know.
So there's good, you know, and then what if I'm a seller and I put my home on the market? My air conditioner's blowing great today, but during the process, oh my gosh, the air conditioner quit working. Well, guess what? We got a warranty to take care of that. It's a seller's warranty. So
you learn something new every day.
That is great stuff, man. That's solid right there.
Yep.
Well, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk with us and answer some questions. And
we will definitely be reaching out to both of you to get another appointment scheduled. I think it'd be very beneficial to make sure to have you on again, and maybe we can delve a little deeper into other facets of it versus today we kind of did just a whole gambit of it, but maybe concentrate on a couple sections that might help some prospective buyers and sellers out a little bit there. But thank you so much, Tracy and Rodney, and man, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll look forward to the next time.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, y'all take care, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Bye. Have a good day. You too. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Man, he has a lot of information.
That was freaking awesome, though.
It was.
I want to come back and do something geared towards sellers, you know, because this is just about inspections in general. But you know, I didn't know about that aspect that they do. That was really interesting.
I felt guilty that I was taking enough notes when he was talking. I was like, oh man, well, what about this? So like, let's,
and that's my biggest thing too, is the education of the actual realtors too, because inspectors go out there all the time, man. But when you're looking at those reports and like you had that report bumpy and you were like, you know, can you review this with me just to make sure and stuff like that? And I don't think
there were a couple items on there that I was like, man, I'm a little uncertain about this.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would have been great. It would have been great to anyway, I don't know. We're going off tangent, but it was we'll definitely have to get to do something to get back together with him again at a later time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So anyway,
I know Tracy's been great because I always reach out to her like, hey. And she's sending me always updates on things that are happening in the area, and so she's a great contact too.
My clients love their website too. Actually, that was one of the things that really.
Yeah. So for those of you individuals looking at the video and stuff like that, so it is Alamo Real Pro Inspection Group. This is their website, alamorealpro.com. You can go there and you can actually schedule online. Obviously, if you're working with a realtor. Most realtors are not going to specifically tell you to use a specific inspection company. They're going to give you some inspection companies that you can call and find out and stuff like that. But of course, for us, we do the same thing, obviously. But you know, Alamo Real Pro is is one of the inspection companies
nice
that we use
too,
all the time. So
because your agent can also help using their website. We have been able to
Coordinate.
the inspection for busy clients, and all they do is then they get an email saying, yep, this is what you've asked for, just confirm it, and then sign and pay here.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
that's been really nice to be able to offer that assistance to busy clients who just don't have time to do all that legwork.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been a long one. We're sitting at
It's
50 minutes. 50 minutes, and it flew by. I don't think we covered a lot of information. Well, we did cover a lot of information. I think we could have covered a lot more information and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But anyway,
we like to talk too much.
yeah.
It's
Anyway,
good.
thank you for joining us for this week's Tidbit Thursday. Next week, we're talking about what? What are we talking about next week? You remember?
It was something in the inspection reports.
It was HVAC and plumbing, no?
I think. Yeah.
That's right. Yes, HVAC and plumbing. So we'll have another vendor on here talking specifically about HVAC and plumbing systems that are usually caught during the inspection reports and just this the biggest items that are normally caught during the inspection reports. So we do not have another seminar until the 14th of May. On the 14th of May, we will be doing our sellers seminar at Align Mortgage. So please be on the lookout on Facebook for that to sign up. And other than that, we have nothing else. Hopefully next week, Denise will be back with us and we'll all be back in the studio doing this again. So
happy Cinco de Mayo.
Oh yeah, that's right. Today's Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo today.
Darn straight. We're meeting up with the kids tonight. We might get margaritas on.
I wish I had a little confetti pieces coming down.
You're yourself, you're like, woo.
I probably would have been. Anyway, y'all have a good week, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.